This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Is my screen visible to all of you?
No, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Is my screen viewable?
No, sir.
I'm sharing my screen. Okay.
Now, sir, it is visible.
Is it visible now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is visible.
Good evening, students.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
So again, we are back with our Java web development, that what we called as J2E. So up to what we have done? Anyone? Up to what we have done last? I think I have started the session management.
Yes, up to hidden field format, I think we have done.
So all the fours are done: a cookie, session, URL rewriting, and hidden field format.
Yes, sir, yes.
So I'm just seeing only 37 has arrived. So what about others? Please ask your friends to join fast. So until others joined, any query from those who have kindly joined the session regarding your session management or whatever we have done, we have already covered. Any query from that part also? You can ask me now.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Amir.
Sir, first of all, good evening. Sir, I would like to have a request from my side. Sir, actually, I wasn't in the previous batch of the advanced Java class, so I would just request that whenever you will try to explain something, I would just request to touch some of its basics so that it will be easier for me to understand, sir. Only some of the things.
See, some of the things you have to mention, which are those, because a lot of things we have already covered. So starting from introduction to J2E, what is J2E? Okay, and next comes
Okay.
the concept of your HTML, where you have to create those web pages. That thing we have already covered. Next, we have covered the concept called servlet, that is your server-side coding. Okay, we have also
Okay.
covered JavaScript. Okay, which using which you can perform those client-side validations. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
you have to do one thing. You can collect all the notes from your friends.
Sir,
Okay,
I have already
if
have
you
the
have some
notes.
problem, okay. So please
Sir, I
go
have
through the
already have
notes.
the
If you
note
are
that
facing
whenever
any
I have
problem
any
with
kind
any
of
part,
problem, I'll ask.
oh, no problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
What about others? Any query regarding what we have already covered? For those who have joined means recently, okay, they have missed some classes or the initial classes, just like Amir. Okay, I will ask, okay, please draw this diagram for regarding J2E. Okay, you have to please draw this, the J2E technology. This entire diagram represents the architecture of J2E. So those who have missed this part, please draw this, because in every part of our topic we are following this. See, in the browser part, the left hand part is the client part, where the browser lies and for which we have to create those HTML CSS part. The middle part is your server, which we called as the web server, and the rightmost part is your database. In the web server, servlet JSP forms the web container, and there is a bin part also, which forms the EJB container. So those who have missed this part, please draw this diagram. In the web container, we have done up to the servlet part. Servlet is nothing but server-side coding. So both servlet and JSP, we have not done yet the JSP part. Okay, so JSP and servlet both are responsible for the server-side coding. The session management part you can implement in both your servlet as well as JSP. So can any of you tell me, okay, what is the concept of session management? Why do we need session management? Anyone?
Sir, to
Anyone of
know
you?
about the sir, to get to know about the user's choice.
Session management is needed to if you want to know about the user choice. No. Anyone? Why do we need session management in a web? Any one of you, can you explain the concept of session management? As this was the part which we have done last now. So I'm starting from here only. Okay, what do we mean by session management? Anyone? No one. Have all of you forgotten what is session management? Why we are doing that session management part? Can anyone tell me when
To
we
remember the client's information after the response in a stateless protocol.
okay, fine. So what is basically what are the various types of protocol available?
Two types of
What are those?
stateless.
Stateless and
Stateful.
stateful. Okay. So what do we get in a stateful protocol and what do we get in a stateless protocol?
And in
Can you
stateful
please explain?
protocol, server remember its client even
Okay.
after sending the response. But in a stateless protocol, server doesn't remember its client even after the
Nikhil, your
response.
voice is breaking. And regarding stateless protocol? Yes, Nikhil, regarding stateless protocol?
Also, can I text because my microphone is not working well?
Uh, all of you have got the point regarding this stateless and stateful protocol concept. Pallavi, can you hear me now? Yes, Pallavi, can you hear me now? Okay, Nikhil, please, if possible, change your mic. Any other regarding stateless and stateful protocol? Can anyone explain the concept of stateless protocol?
Sir, in stateless protocol, the server does not remember its client after sending the response.
So,
HTTP of that.
tell me, so why do we need session management? So why do we need session management? See, regarding what we have tell as protocol are two types, stateless and stateful. Na? So in stateful, whenever a request comes from the client, after the server processes the request, okay, and send the response back to the client, the server still remembers its client. That happens in case of stateful. So when a second request comes from the same client, the server knows that it has already processed that client before. But what happens regarding a stateless protocol is that once a request comes to the server, it processes the request and sends the response. As soon as it sends the response, the server forgets its client. Okay, it has no idea whether that client exists or not. So if that same client again send a second request, to the same server. So the server has already forgotten its client. Na? It does not know whether this request is a fresh request or a previous or a second request, because it is working in a stateless protocol. So in order to make a server remember its client in a stateless protocol, we require this session management concept. Okay, so session management is required only in case of stateless protocol where a server does not remembers. Okay, say for example, when you are log into a particular site, you have to provide your email ID and password. Now, once from the client machine, you are providing your email ID and password. After receiving the email ID and password, the server obviously shows some page, which we can say some kind of home page. Now, again, when you click on something on the home page, a second request goes to the server. Now, if you are working in a stateless protocol, so what happens? Does the server again ask you for the same email ID and password because it has forgotten? Na? Does the server again ask you for the email ID and password? Whenever you click on something, once you have provided your email ID and password, for the remaining process, does the server again ask you for the same email ID each time you raise a request? Each time you have to provide your email ID and password.
No, sir.
So that means
No,
what?
sir.
Some mechanism has been done na, so that a server can remember its client in a stateless protocol. Now HTTP, the most common protocol which we used for client server communication. Okay, so HTTP falls in that category of stateless protocol. So when we are dealing with this protocol, so this problem will be there. Each time when you send a request to the server, you have to provide all the details because the server has forgotten you. So what does we need to do? We have to provide certain mechanisms where while working in HTTP or a stateless protocol, the server remembers its client. And this mechanism is called session management. So what is session management? Is it clear to all of you? What is session management and why do we need to do that? Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Others, please respond. If someone has any doubt, as if someone have missed this part or any doubt, you can ask me now regarding what is session management. Why do we need to perform session management? Is it clear to all of you? You can send the response in chat box also. Okay, fine. So now there are with respect to Java, there are various ways of implementing session management. So the ways are, there are total 4 ways. First, using cookie. Second, using session. Third, using URL rewriting. And fourth, using hidden field format. So using these 4 mechanisms in a stateless protocol, we can perform session management. Okay, already I have given you the notes. You can go to the notes also. Okay, regarding session management in Java, there are 4 ways of maintaining a session. They are: number 1 is your cookie. The second one is your session, or which we called as HTTP session. The third one is your URL rewriting. And the fourth one is your hidden field format. Now coming to the cookie, can anyone of you explain what do we mean by the concept cookie? How using cookie we maintain a session? Can anyone please explain? Pallavi, again you are saying you can't hear my voice. Others are hearing. I think there is some problem with your headphone. Please check your headphone or replace it. What is basically cookie?
Sir, it is a file which stores the client information.
Very good. So a cookie is basically what? A small file which store client specific information. So that is the first point to be noted. Okay, what is a cookie? Cookie is a small file which is used to store client specific information like email ID, password, or any other things. Now, who is responsible for creating this cookie? Who is responsible for creating this cookie?
Servers.
Very good. So the server actually creates the cookie. Now, where the cookie is being stored?
Client side.
Where the cookie is being stored? Very good, Nikhil. K, it is stored in the client side. So three things we get. What is cookie? A cookie is a small file which contains small bit of client specific information. Second point, a cookie is created by the server. And the third point, a cookie is stored in the client side. Now what happens? Say for example, in cookie, when a request comes from the client to the server takes important information from the client, from the request, and creates a file which we called as a cookie. Now that file, the server, when it sends the response back to the client, what it does, it stores that file in the client side. Now again, when the second request comes from the client side to that server, with that request, all the cookies that are created by this server also comes. Okay, now from seeing that cookie, the server in a stateless protocol recalls whether that client is an existing client or a fresh client. Okay, so by seeing the cookie, a server can recognizes if that a client has the cookie which is created by this server, that means that is an existing client. And if that client does not contain any cookie, so that means it is a fresh request coming from a particular client. Okay, so up to this what is cookie? Is the cookie concept clear to all of you? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Now, in Java or in J2E, how we can create a cookie? How we can create a cookie?
Using cookie class.
Very good. So in Java, there is a class called cookie. C is written in caps, COOKIE. So using that cookie class, we can create a particular server can create a cookie. Okay, now what does that cookie class contain? When you create a cookie, what are the things created? What does a cookie contain? Means obviously a cookie contains the client specific information, but how they are stored? Can anyone explain?
Name value pair, sir.
Yes, Anindita, very good. Name and value. Okay, so every cookie contains a name and value as a pair. Now, can two cookies be same, or they contain the same name and value pair? Can two cookies be the same, containing same name and value? Can two cookies can have the same name and value as a pair? Amin has answered maybe. What about others? Any other answer? Any other answer? Can two cookies can have the same name and value as a pair? Very good, Dibojyoti. Yes, Sumit. So yes, Digvijay. So remember, no two cookies can be same, or in other words, can contain the same name and value. Either the name will differ or either the value will differ. So cookies are unique because if two cookies contain the same name and value, then in order to retrieve a value by a server from the cookie, then it will face some problem. So remember, two cookies cannot be the same with respect to a particular server. Okay, so this is very important point to remember. Every cookie contains a name and value as a pair, and two cookies cannot be the same. Now, regarding this, when request arrives from a particular client, how are cookies received by the server? How are cookies received by the server? When request comes from the client, how are cookies received by the server? In which format?
In form of arrays, sir.
Very good, Nikhil. So in the form of array. So as we know, in order to traverse an array, we have to run a for loop over there. And from using that for loop, okay, we can get the name of the cookie and as well as get the value of the cookie. So can you tell me what is the functions? What is the function required in order to get the name as well as the value from the cookie? In order to get the name, which function do we need to call?
Sir, get cookie.
Get cookies will get all the cookies. Now, how to get the name, specific name?
Get name. Get name.
Get name, and regarding the value,
Get value.
get value. Fine. So with respect to the cookie class, there are two methods. Okay. The get cookies method is used to receive all the cookies from the client side because all the cookies come in the form of an array. Once the cookie is received and we are traversing that array to check whether the name which the server has given to the cookie, we use a function called get name. And regarding, in order to, once the name has been identified, in order to extract the value from that cookie, we need get value function. Up to this, is it clear to everyone? Is the cookie concept, how session management is implemented using cookie? Is it clear to all of you? Up to this, any query from your side? Now coming to HTTP session. So what is HTTP session? How it differs from cookie? What is HTTP session? How it differs from cookie? Yes, Nikhil. So the main difference between cookie and HTTP session is in case of cookie, the values, in both cases a file is created. Okay, both for cookies and HTTP session, a file is created which contains client specific information. But in case of cookie, the file is saved in the client side. But in case of HTTP session, the file is saved in the server side. Okay, now among cookie and HTTP session, which one is more safe?
Sir, HTTP.
Yes, so why HTTP is more safe? Because it is stored in the server side now. Okay, remember, okay, when you store values in a client side in the form of cookie, a client can visit multiple server. Now whenever it sends a request to different servers, so all the cookies that are stored in that particular client are also sent. And if some hacker is present in that server, what it does, okay, there might be a chance, okay, your important information which are stored in your client machine may get hacked. And that is the reason why we say, okay, using cookie for session management is not so safe. Okay, you people will also notice, okay, there are some low level sites which still uses cookie in order to perform session management. And when they use cookie, it is now become legal to provide a message, okay, this site uses cookie, do you want to agree to continue? If you agree, then the session management will start, otherwise it will be disconnected. Have you got this kind of message, okay, in some sites when you open some app or you open some site, it says, okay, this site uses cookie, so please agree? Have some of you got this message in any site or while opening any particular app? Have you get this kind of message, okay, this site uses cookie?
Yes, sir.
So that is why, because cookie is not so safe now, because whenever you are using cookie, your client machine is vulnerable for attack by the hackers. Now regarding HTTP session, an HTTP session stores client specific information in the server itself. Now whoever the server may be, all its client specific information are stored in within itself. So there is less chance of being hacked, because a server security is much more as compared to a client security. So that's why we can say HTTP session is much more secured. If session management is done using HTTP session, it is much more secured as compared to cookie. Okay, now can anyone tell me, okay, how in HTTP session a session is created? Can you tell me the statement, okay, using this statement a HTTP session is created? What is the instruction using which we can create an HTTP session? Anyone? Yes, Sovik. So HTTP session, the statement was like, na, HTTP session, a variable name. The variable name I have given as ACS, or any variable name will do, equals to request.get session. Does all of you recall this statement? Okay, whenever we perform session management using HTTP session, we have to write a statement called HTTP session ACS equal to request.get session. Yes, Nikhil. Just like that, HTTP session ACS equal to request.get session. This is the line which actually create the session. Okay. Now, once this session has been established, then using which function you can store values in it? Then using which function you can store values in it? What is the name of the function?
Set attributes. Attribute.
Set attribute. Okay, so set attribute is the function using which you can actually set values that you receive from the client side in that particular session. Now, in order to receive values from that server, that session value, What is the method again? Set का opposite क्या होगा? Yes, get attribute. So set attribute is used to set values in HTTP session, and get attribute is used to extract values from that HTTP session. Now, there is another difference with respect to cookie and HTTP session. Okay, with respect to cookie, all the cookies are coming to the server side in the form of an array. So you have to traverse the entire array, and using the name, you have to search the value that is stored in the cookie. Okay, but with respect to HTTP session, you can directly pick the value by providing its name. Okay, you don't have to traverse an array in order to get the value. So that is another difference with respect to HTTP session. Okay, with respect to cookie, you have to traverse an array, but in case of HTTP session, you does not have to traverse any kind of array. So is this concept of HTTP session clear to all of you up to this? Up to this, is it clear to all of you, the concept of HTTP session? I want a response from all of you. All of you, please respond. Okay, fine. So now regarding HTTP session, so I have told you, okay, when you retrieve values from the HTTP session, it is basically in an encrypted format. So what do you need to get the proper value? What do you need to do in order to get the proper value? If you're using HTTP session, you are using that get attribute value function or get attribute method in order to extract value from HTTP session now. So just by providing get attribute, you will get the proper value, or something you need to do. Just by providing get attribute will provide you the exact value stored in the session. Yes, Nikhil, very good. You need to typecast to string format. Okay, because the format in which it is stored in the server is an encrypted format. So in order to convert it back to string, you have to use that string typecast method. So is that HTTP session concept clear to all of you? What is HTTP? How values are stored in it, how values are retrieved from it, and how we can transform the encrypted value to a string format. Up to this, is it clear? Now coming to the third part of session management through URL rewriting. So can anyone explain what is URL rewriting?
So it uses the concept of hyperlink.
Hmm. So URL rewriting, why it is called URL rewriting? Why it is called URL rewriting? Yes, values are passed through URL. So remember, when you send request from client to the server, all the values that are passed from client to the server are passed to that URL. Okay, you will see whenever you search a particular site or something in the net, okay, you have to type the address, okay, in that URL part, because that is whatever you provide over there, that will go to the server. So through URL, all the values from client side goes to the server side. Now at the time of passing, okay, you are actually providing value, or you are rewriting that URL part. Okay, so in URL rewriting, I have shown you a mechanism using which, remember that question mark term, there was a question mark. So using that kind of syntax, you can provide what, a particular value, or you can rewrite what is written in the URL. Okay, and in the server side, from that URL, you are getting the value. So that is why it is called URL rewriting. And the most important part to remember regarding URL rewriting is, URL rewriting can only be done using the concept called hyperlinking. Okay, hyperlinking is the term which we are familiar with HTML. Okay, it is used to jump from one web page to another. For that, we use that anchor tag. Remember, a tag that is called anchor tag in hyperlinking. A href equals to your the destination page name. But URL rewriting is a mechanism where, using that hyperlinking concept, you can actually call or send a request to the server. Okay, very important thing to remember, using URL rewriting, you can actually transfer values from client to the server through hyperlink. If you use normal hyperlink, only from one web page to another web page you can go. But in order to send request, you have to perform through hyperlink, you have to perform that URL rewriting concept. So regarding URL rewriting, is the concept clear to all of you? Does all of you remember the URL rewriting concept, the program which we have done before? How we were performing URL rewriting using that anchor tag ahref equals to, then followed by question mark, then I have to provide an ID. So ID equals to any name. That name is used to receive values in the server side. Yes, others? Do all of you recall that URL rewriting part? Please respond. Is the concept of URL rewriting clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
regarding, okay, fine. So regarding hidden field format, the fourth way of managing a session. So what is hidden field format? Can anyone explain? What do we mean by hidden field format, and why it is called hidden field format? Yes, Anindita, values are transferred from source to destination by hiding. So how by hiding the values are passed from source to destination? Yes, Nikhil. So there will be an input tag where normally for input tag, the type is of text. But if you provide that input tag type as hidden, so that means the text box is there, but it is not visible. And inside that tag, remember using that value attribute, you can provide the value over there. So input type is equal to hidden, value is equal to something, whatever you need to pass to the server. And you have to provide a name for that text box also. Now, as the type is hidden, the entire text box will not be shown in the form page. Now, in the server side, as that text box contains a name which is hidden, from that name you can recover the value that you have passed in it. So clear hidden field format. So all of you can recall the hidden field format. Others? So are the 4 different ways of managing a session clear to all of you now? Cookie, HTTP session, URL rewriting, and hidden field format are these 4 mechanisms clear to all of you? I will request you to please go through your notes. Okay, there I have provided you with the program. Please go through the program, see whether the program is clear to all of you or not. Because I will be giving you one task which you have to provide using a particular session management. So please go through all the 4 ways of session management. Okay, please go through the program. See whether each and every line clear to you. Please draw this in your copy. Am I audible to all of you now?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Actually, I was not talking now. I'm just drawing this. Okay, please draw this in your copy. So we are doing the forget password thing over here, where we need the concept of session management. So all of you, I want all of you to do this. Have all of you drawn this diagram? So please open your NetBeans. Do one thing here. See, create a first you have to create a database. So which contains, say, for example, email ID, password, name, security question, answer, and a submit button. Okay. So please write down in your copy, create a form. Create a form for registration. Create a form for registration, which will contain these fields: email ID, password, SQ means security question, answer, email ID, password, security question, answer, name, and finally a submit button. So in order to means create this forget password concept, first you have to create this registration page. We have already done the registration page earlier, but still I want all of you to do this again. So please create a form page. If you have that page, you can copy the code from there also, no issue. So in the form page, these are the fields which should be there: okay, email ID, password, security question, answer, name, and a submit button. So when the user click on the submit button, you have to create a table. Okay, in a database, you have to create a table which will contain this amount of columns. Total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns should be there. Submit is the button now. So for submit, no column should be there. So you have to create a table with 4 columns, and when you click on the submit button, all the 4 values which are taken from the user should fall on that table. So up to that, please do it, because without registering you cannot create this thing with forget password option. Those you have already done, okay, please share the code in the chat box. Both the HTML as well as the servlet code. Do it using servlet. First create the registration page. There is a question, among all those 4 ways of session management, can anyone tell me among those 4 ways which among these 4 is the best and why? So this question can be asked in the interview. Okay, among the 4 ways of session management, that is your cookie, HTTP session, URL rewriting, and hidden field format, among these 4 ways, which one is the best and why?
The HTTP session is the best
Why?
because the value is stored in the server side here.
Value is stored in the server side. And what about URL and hidden? Why hidden field format is not the best?
Sir, as we have to
In hidden
transfer
field
the
format,
value,
hmm, हाँ बोल,
sir, as we have
as we
to
have to,
transfer the values from each page and every page, so it is a very hectic task to perform, and maybe the
very good,
hackers may.
very good. So remember regarding a URL rewriting, and have I already means provided the answer for this before? Okay, among these 4 ways of session management, which was is best and why?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so regarding that, regarding cookie, as we know, cookie is not so safe. Among cookie and HTTP session, HTTP session is the best because the values are stored in the server side and they are so much secure. Now, URL and rewriting and hidden field format. Remember, one thing I have told you to remember regarding URL rewriting. Can you tell me, in the servlet, okay, which method you have to call regarding URL rewriting? The do get or the do post? When you're performing
get,
URL
sir.
rewriting, very good.
Do
So
get, sir.
remember, URL rewriting always support the do get method of the servlet. Okay, so do post does not work over there. Now, if you are providing do get, everyone can see what value you are passing. So that is why do get is not so safe. Okay, now regarding hidden field format. So as you have to transfer the value from source to destination, say for example, in between source to destination page, there are 100 pages. So among all the 100 pages, you have to transfer the value from one page to second page to third page. You're transferring through through hiding, by hiding it. Okay, that is good, but still you have to transfer the values from that source to whichever page you want, okay, through all the in between pages now. So that is a very hectic task, so that's why hidden field format is not a best option. So among all this, Regarding URL rewriting, the URL rewriting also the same case, although it has do get method. Still, if you're providing URL rewriting to transfer data from source to destination, you have to transform through all the in between pages. So if you have lot of pages in your site where you need to transfer the data, so URL rewriting and hidden field are not the best option. So for them, the cookie and HTTP session are the best, because once you have stored the value, it may be in the client side or in the server side. No need for trace in the in between pages. At any page where you need that value that is stored in the session, you can get it. But among cookie and HTTP session is the best because it is stored in the server side. So here, see, I want first, okay, first do the registration page, then I will tell you. In the forget password, you have to use that HTTP session. You can do it using any of the 4 sessions, but preferably HTTP session. All of you have done that registration form. After completing the registration form, please provide the code in the chat box. Both the HTML page as well as the servlet page. So this is the HTML page which Nikhil has provided. Okay. So for the sign up part, those who have not been able to do this, you can copy it from over here. Okay. You can type by saying this. You see there's a form, method equal to post, action equal to sign up. So sign up is the name of the servlet which will be called in order to insert the values. Next, for my name, email ID, password, security question, and answer, and followed by the submit button. So this is your HTML page. Please, those who are not able to do this, please on in your copy, or you can type it in your machine also. This is a normal form page for taking values from the user from the client machine. Up to this part, everyone finished writing the HTML page? Please respond.
No, sir.
Once finished typing, please inform me this HTML page. Then I will show you the sublet page. Finish this one, HTML. This is a sublet page.
Yes, sir.
So this is your sublet page. First, you have to create a database. Okay, in the database, create a table which will consist of those fields or those columns. After creating the table, create a servlet and type this code. Nikhil, you have already finished this partner, so please finish the login part, that is the sign in part as well. In the sign in part, there will be email ID, password, and submit button for the HTML. And in the servlet, check whether it is getting sign in or not. Okay, fine. Now please do the servlet. Check whether the email ID is getting matched with the password or not. Nikhil, is the code working? The sign in part? Everyone finish the sign up servlet? Have all of you finished the sign up part? Up to this, everyone finished? Sign up? Please respond. Is your sign up code working? Now, once the sign up has been done, this is your sign in page. There is a login page. It is also one form which consists of email ID, password, and submit button. So create another HTML page, name it as sign in, and type this code. Nikhil, is your sign in part working? Both sign up and sign in, is it working? Without sign up and sign in, you can't go to that forget password part. Others, have all of you finished the sign up part? Is the sign up part working for you? Please respond. Also remember, in the libraries part, don't forget to add the typo driver OJDBC 14. Remember, in the libraries part, you have to add this. See in the left, in the libraries part, add jar/folder. Here you have to add this typo driver for Oracle. Otherwise, your Oracle will not work. In the libraries folder, you have to add this jar file. Okay, Digvijay. Digvijay, have you done the login or the sign in part? Okay, fine. What about Nikhil? Have you completed the, is your sign up part running successfully? Yes, Nikhil. Is the sign up part running successfully? Okay, fine. Now regarding the sign in, the servlet part is this one. This is a servlet code for sign in or login. Remember, you have to match the ID and the password. So whenever there is a match, I have told you, okay, you have to provide the fetch command. So here we are providing the fetch command. Select star from table name, where email ID is this and password is this. Remember, these two are the column names. This one and this one. This email and this password are the column names. And this is registration one is the name of the table. According to mine, you can create your own table name also. So once finished, please inform me, everyone. Once the sign up and the sign is finished, please inform me so that we can continue with the forget password thing. Don't forget to add the type 4 driver, that is your OJDBC 14. Also here, system is the name of the database and this one is the database password. So accordingly, whatever database you have created using the name and password, those are using only system manager can type system, and in the password you can write manager. Those are providing your own password, you can type the password over there. Up to this, finish everyone. The sign in part. Is the sign up part finished by everyone? Please respond. Is the sign up part over? Okay, fine. Dibujyoti has said he have finished the sign up part. What about others? Have you all finished the sign up part? Please respond. Is the sign up part running successfully? Dibujyoti, have you finished the sign in part also? Sumit, finish. Both sign up and sign in. Momita, what about you? Sign up or done? Yes, Momita. Finish the sign up part. Momita, still doing the sign up part? Are you facing some problem with the sign up? It's simple, the insert code, na? Yes, Srirupa, finish the sign up. Pushparaj, both finish, both sign up and sign in. Yes, Momita, what kind of error you are getting? While creating the servlet, have you checked that option, add information to deployment descriptor, Momita? When you're creating the servlet, okay, see over here, when you create a servlet just like this, get a new servlet, it may be any servlet name. Then don't forget to check this option, add information. If you have not checked this option, your servlet will not work. Okay, please check this option. So Momita, have you done that? Okay, Pushparaj, so the enter forget password and set new password, up to that you have already done. Is it working? Remember, whenever you create a servlet, you always have to check that option. Otherwise, the servlet will not be found. Those who are facing problem, please let me know so that I can make you clear. Nikhil, is your system working now? Is both sign up and sign in working? Sanjeev, what kind of error you are getting when you're using do post? An error code will be shown. What is the code it is showing? Is it 404? Or it is 405? Which error code is showing, Sanjeev? 405 means, see, in your HTML page, I think your method is written as get, and in the servlet you have written do post. If the method is get in the HTML page, then in the servlet page it will be do get. But if in the HTML page, if the method is post, then in the servlet it will be do post. So please check the method attribute in the HTML page, the value of the method attribute of the HTML page and that of the servlet method, whether they're getting matched or not. 405 means that do get do post is not getting matched with the attribute method of the form tag. Sanjeev, have you found the error? In the HTML page, check the method attributes value. If it is get, method equals to get in the form page, then in the servlet, it will be do get. And if in the method is do post, method is post, then in the servlet, it will be do post. Error 405 means method mismatch. Yes, Sanjeev, got it. Sanjeev, can you paste the code over here in the chat box for both the HTML as well as the servlet? So this is the HTML, right? Form method equal to post, action equal to this, fine. It equal to post. And please provide the servlet code. Sanjeev, do one thing. Create another servlet. Okay. Say for example, name it as sign in one. And in the sign in one, paste the entire code or class का नाम change कर दे sign in one. And in the HTML, in the method, change it to post and action equal to sign in one कर. Okay. सेव करके रन करके देख हो जाएगा. Sometimes what happens कि वो previous का value store करके रख देता है, तो इसमें problem होता है. Create another servlet with a name called sign in one. HTML में जाके action is equal to कर दे sign in one. And in this servlet, class का name कर दे sign in one. What about others? Have all of you finished the sign up, the sign in part? Please respond. Yes, Nikhil, both the sign up and sign in finished? Okay, fine. So for today it's okay. From tomorrow we will be doing that forget password thing. Okay. So if you can create that login that HTML page that forget password. It is a normal HTML page that will contain the hyperlink. And when you click on that hyperlink, it will go to the second page. That is, it will ask for the email ID and the submit button will be there. Okay. Once you click on the submit button by providing the email ID, it will fetch the security question and it will take the answer from the user. Okay, but remember this thing we have already done prior in the servlet class, but there each time we have to take the email ID from the user. But here in the diagram, we are not taking the email ID. Why? Because the email ID needs to be stored in the session. Okay, so please do up to the first two pages. Okay, first two HTML page बना के रखना. From the third page, I will show you how to store the email ID in the session. If you can try on yourself, it's fine. Okay, otherwise I will show it tomorrow. Yes, Dibujyoti, finish. So for all of you, those who have still not finished the sign up and sign in form, okay, so please do it. From tomorrow, we will be doing the forget password, and I will show you how session management will be applied over there in order to remember that email ID. Those who can try on yourself can try. For the rest, I will do it tomorrow. Okay, so closing it for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So tomorrow again we meet
Thank
at
you, sir.
6. Okay. Thank
And
you.
sir, what about our attendance for today?
I think your coordinator has already taken into account for that part also.
Okay, no issues.
Your
Thank you,
attendance
sir.
will already be taken. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We'll have class tomorrow.
Okay.
Amir, for EC, I have taken the attendance on behalf of EC. Okay.
So can we leave now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
sure.
can leave.
But please yeah, finish the sign up and sign in. Okay, part.
Fuck
Be
you.
ready with your sign in and sign up part so that we can continue tomorrow.